Hey, what's up, my YouTube fam? I'm back. This is Larry with Invest and Build Your Credit and Wealth. Today, we have a very exciting class. We're going to be talking about, we're going to kind of go back over eOscar. We're going to talk about Metro 2. We're going to talk about some of the myths. We're going to talk about certain things to look for in your credit report. We're going to I'm going to give you some examples of some dispute, how to dispute certain items. We're going to kind of break down a lot of different things to really give you an understanding of how to try to get these accounts eliminated off your credit report. But first, I want to say thank you for all my new subscribers coming to the channel. You know, this channel is all about giving y'all the real deal. You know, we're going about giving information. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to go the extra mile to get you the answers to questions, to answer your questions that you need to do to get things removed off your credit report and move your credit report in the right direction. You may not ever get every single negative item removed, but you can still build your credit to overshadow those things and keep moving, because it won't stay on there forever. But we're talking about getting inaccurate information, and a lot of stuff on our credit report is inaccurate, right? So it's all about making sure, how do we get those inaccuracies of closed accounts, collection accounts, charge-off accounts, medical debts, all that stuff, and what we should be looking for. And we're going to cover all that. It's going to be kind of a lengthy class, but it needs to be to get you all the information you need. Like, these can't be little short videos, because then you're starving for more information and you have questions. And hopefully in this video I can answer all of your questions. So you know the deal. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, and let's get into it. You know, please share this channel. And I thank you again. Thank you for all my new subscribers, and continue to grow this channel. But let's get into first the dispute process. If you don't know to understand the dispute process, how can you really put together a great dispute letter if you don't even understand what the dispute process, the real dispute process is? I mean, we all know that we can send in the letter and dispute certain items and say this is not accurate, but how does that process actually work? And can you improve your letters to get more results, especially when you have inaccurate information reporting? So we're going to talk about that stuff right there. So the first thing I want to tell you is that we're going to talk about eOscar, we're going to talk about the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and we're going to talk about Metro 2. So when you start talking about eOscar, that is the system that moves the information from the credit bureaus to the original creditor. All these original creditors that report information to the credit bureau have an eOscar, or they are signed or affiliated with eOscar. However you want to put it, they have the eOscar, right? The Fair Credit Reporting Act is the law. That is the law. Metro 2 is just the language that is used to send information through eOscar to the original creditor. It's a guide to tell the original creditors this is how information that they set up. They set that standard. They say this is how we want to report information. So all the bureaus will be reporting the same information. And you know that's not happening because they're not really following Metro 2, and they're not required to follow Metro 2. Let me tell you that again. They're not required because Metro 2 is not a law. Think I'm lying? Ask any consumer lawyer. Right? But the Fair Credit Reporting Act is a law. Okay, so how do they all combine? Now, just because the creditors don't have to follow Metro 2, they still have an obligation to report the information accurately on the credit report. Credit reports, the Fair Credit Reporting Act says 100% accurate, verifiable, and complete. Metro 2 is supposed to advance that so they can meet that criteria. That's right. So you follow me now. Metro 2 is how they're supposed to meet and help them meet that criteria of 100% accurate, verifiable, and complete. Now, because you can't sue under Metro 2, you can sue under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Even in Metro 2, it tells you in the consumer dispute process, the two main areas that you need to look at, Section 611 and in 1681I for investigation, and 623, which is 1681 S2B. Those are the sections you want to include when you're dealing with the credit bureaus and the original creditors. If you're going to send a letter to the original creditors, you want to use section 623, 1681 to S2B, because they're required to furnish accurate information. Now, when you directly, I hope I'm not going too fast for you and I'm not confusing you. Now, when you go with the credit bureaus in dispute, that is called an indirect dispute, right? Because you are, do I need to plug up this computer? You are sending a dispute to the credit bureaus, right? Okay. That is how you can actually sue the original creditors and the credit bureaus. You can't sue them by doing a direct dispute, which we're going to talk about direct disputes. So you have to go through the Fair Credit Reporting Act through the credit bureaus, because that's what the Fair Credit Reporting Act is setting the law for the credit bureaus to make sure they're investigating disputes that consumers send into them. Right. So now you got that. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, you got Oscar, you got Metro 2. You understand that you can't sue under Metro 2, but you can sue under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You can do a direct dispute to the creditors, and you can do an indirect dispute to the credit bureaus. Why is it important to send a direct dispute? Because now, even though you can't sue the original creditors, you put them on notice that you are furnishing inaccurate information. And because of not following the guidelines in Metro 2, my credit report between Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax is all different. So you have this guideline that you know that's in place, but you're not following, which all the bureaus are reporting inaccurate information, and it's your responsibility under section 623, 1681 S2B to be furnishing accurate information. So I am putting you on notice that you're not doing that, right? And I know you're not doing that because when I filed my indirect dispute with the credit bureaus, I get back the account has been verified. So now that's why I attack both sides. One on notice, hey, I got proof that you come back and not fixing these inaccuracies. And we're going to be talking about some inaccuracies, right? Now I'm going to read something else about Oscar. It also says a consumer may initiate his or her dispute directly with the consumer reporting agency, a reseller of consumer reports, or directly with the data furnisher. So you could even go after the people the resellers that sell your information, right? Even those people for not reporting accurate information, right? So regardless of the source of which the dispute originates, the data furnisher must respond. Listen what I say. Regardless of the source at which the dispute originates, the data furnisher must respond. So if you're going with you're sending a letter to the original creditor, you must say, regardless of the source of which the dispute originates, you as a data furnisher must respond to the letter I'm sending you. The law also describes these duties of data furnishers specific to the consumer's dispute. Listen what I said. The law also describes these duties of data furnishers specific to the consumer's dispute process. Conduct an investigation with respect to the disputed information. That is the law. Reveal all relevant information provided by the consumer and the consumer reporting agency. report the results of the investigation to the consumer reporting agency. If the investigation finds that information is incomplete or inaccurate, report those results to all other reporting agencies to which the data provider furnishes the information. So that means if they're on all three credit reports, they are most supposed to be sending information to all three credit reports. So if you get something you sent in, they deleted it off Equifax, but they didn't delete it off Experian or TransUnion, right? Then something that either they didn't send that information, that they deleted this information because the dispute resulted in a deletion. The information was inaccurate. So now you can go back to the original creditor and say you deleted this off this account, but you didn't delete it off this account. Are you following the Metro 2 method to make in the Fair Credit Reporting Act to send all information to all the reporting agencies that you are affiliated with? That is the law. That's what they have to do. The law also mandates a deadline for the completion, the investigation, review, and report the investigation results. Per the Fair Credit, the consumer dispute investigation must be completed within 30 days, and the dispute must be completed within 30 days, 45 days for a Fact Act report, right? This begins when the consumer contacts the consumer reporting agencies. Again, you're going to look at these same two sections, section 623. Now, we're going to dig a little deeper. Now, when this information is sent, it is sent on an ACDV. One thing when you need to put in your letters is, and I have an example. What I said, this is a Capital One account. I said Experian is reporting a date of last payment is 12/23/2019. Equifax is reporting a date of last payment of 8/1/2018. This is inaccurate reporting. This violation must be submitted on the ACDV form to the original creditor. Now you're telling them, this is the form you sending information to the original creditor. I need you to put this information on that form. Mind you, even though eOscar and they're putting in a dispute code, there are errors that they can put notes in the system to help the system be more accurate. I'm doing my research. There are errors that they can put this information in, or send a copy of what you're disputing to the original creditor so they have a clearer understanding of what you're disputing. That's the main thing. You're trying to develop a clear understanding of what you're disputing. Some people say overflow the credit bureaus. There's two things that can happen. If you send in the credit bureau too much information, this thing, either they're not going to get a clear understanding of what you're disputing, and then they're not going to investigate it right. And then you're going to get it verified. If two things could happen. Either you can say, okay, well, they're not verifying my equipment, and you can sue them and say, well, it's not my responsibility to send you one copy. If I send you 15 copies, then you were supposed to go through those copies and make sure and pull out the right information for me, or send that information to the original creditor. But you didn't do that, so you're still reporting that inaccurate information. So you probably could sue them on that, right? But if you're not trying to sue the credit bureau, you're just trying to get this stuff fixed. You're not trying to pay an attorney, all that other type of stuff. And I'm not a lawyer, so I know I'm using that word sue, but I'm telling you that there are grounds, and I would go see a consumer lawyer to make sure these grounds. But you want to make sure that the information that they're sending is being transferred to the original creditor. But on the other hand, if you're not trying to do all that, there's no need to be sending in too much information if you know you're not going to take it to the next level. So you got to think about your game plan and your strategy on what you're trying to do. Some people make it look like I'm gonna overflow them, and if they don't fix it, I'm gonna sue them. Some people like, man, I'm not trying to go to court. I ain't trying to sue them. I'm not trying to pay attorney. I just need them to get it off. So there's two different directions. I'm just breaking all of this down to you, right? So that ACDV is a form that the credit bureaus are sending to the original creditor. Now let me read something to y'all. The data furnisher researches the disputed account and transmit a response back to the original consumer credit reporting agency via eOscar. It is, if the information is verified as accurate, correctly reported, the response only goes to the original consumer reporting agency. So it's a difference. If there is a modification deletion, they're supposed to be sending it to all the credit bureaus. Anybody that they have an affiliation with. But if there's not, then it only has to go to the originating credit reporting agency. They don't have to send it to everybody. But if they deleted off one, they should have been sending that same paper, that same deletion to, if they delete off TransUnion, it should have went to Experian, it should have went to Equifax. And that's the things you have to challenge them on, right? So we got that down. We got that dispute process down, right? That's so important to understand. And it's so important to understand, what you want to put in your letter. Give you another example. This is another company. They did not report the account number. So what I said is in L1, and we're going to talk about this too, in L1, that it should be a complete account number. So give you an example. You have Capital One, and then you have 3 accounts with Capital One. But all 3 accounts have the same account number. How do you really know what account number is which? How do you know if there's not a duplicate account number? So they should be putting the entire account number on that credit report. There should be any special characters, and we're going to talk about that in the Oscar. Now, I want to go back to this ACDV form, the automatic carbon copies. If a data furnisher modifies or delete an account in response to a consumer reporting agency generated consumer dispute, eOscar will send carbon copies of the disputed in response to each of the consumer reporting agencies with which the data furnishers its registration is active in eOscar. These copies help to preempt future disputes, thus reducing the data furnisher's costs. Consumer credit data may be modified at all the agencies with which the data furnisher's registration is active in eOscar, right? Listen, automatic notifications. The Fair Credit Reporting Act requires that originating consumer reporting agencies to notify the data furnishers of any modifications or deletions as a result of a reinvestigation. eOscar provides the capability to meet the requirements, again, Section 623. So this is the dispute process. Now we're going to go with the next. The next step? It's called the ADU process, allowing data furnishers to modify existing account information or to delete the entire account from a consumer's credit report. The data furnisher may update a consumer account information by submitting an automatic universal data record. The data furnisher uses this system web-based interactive interface to create the ADU record. This record is routed to one or more consumer reporting agencies. So this is what they use, especially for out of cycle. So when people say out of cycle, they mean every credit reporting has a cycle date that they cycle information to the credit bureau. That's why sometimes you see a couple days off on date last reported, because they have their own cycle date. when they cycle information to the credit bureaus, right? And that's their cycle date. But they have out of cycle. So say we're disputing something and it gets deleted, they're going to send it back on this AUD because it's an out of cycle. It's not in their normal cycle to dispute information on the credit bureaus. That's what the AUD is for. So the ability to send to multiple credit reporting agencies, each data furnisher indicates affiliation with one or more of the consumer reporting agency at the time of registration. And I know some of this is redundant, but this is the feature of the AUD, right? eOscar sends the update to the consumer reporting agencies that the data furnisher designated when it submits the AUD. The data furnisher has choices because it may not need to update an account on each of the credit reporting database, right? This is C section 623A2B for information data furnisher's duty, correct and update information. So that's what that form is for. It's really that they can send that form out to correct, delete, modify information to all the credit reporting agencies. Now let's talk a little bit about, we're going to cover a little bit about debt collectors and some things you need to be looking for. Some of the things, especially for medical debt, you need to pay attention to. And I thought it very interesting, especially when it comes to HIPAA and reporting. Now, if you have a medical debt, and check this out, listen to this. This is what I talk about when you really dig deep, Metro 2, and you really dig in on how stuff needs to be disputed, right? If you have a medical debt, right, and let me make sure I'm on the right one, because I want to make sure I get this. Am I get this right? So okay. So one thing you need to worry about medical debt that I found out is the name of the facility that they enter their name is for your medical debt. So check this out. Report the name of the institution, but do not include reference to the type of service. For example, use a hospital name without identifying that it was a psychiatrist unit that provided care. If the hospital name reveals sensitive information, abbreviate the name, right? So another thing, use a corporate name if the different from the commercial name of a mental institution or drug rehabilitation. So if there is a medical debt that kind of subscribe what kind of treatment you even got, you can use that against them as HIPAA violations because that's too much information. And I read this and I was like, wow. And this is something that I stumbled over today when I was really digging deep into Metro 2. Like, so if you go to a place that says you went to get a hip replacement and the name indicates what kind of service that you may have got, you can use that as provided as a HIPAA to provide that they're providing too much information on your medical and what kind of procedures you possibly had, right? They should have abbreviated the institution so nobody could really know what you went to go get care for. That was powerful. So even though I always talk about with collection accounts, they have to report the original creditor name, because as a debt buyer, you have to report the original creditor name. As a debt buyer, they have to report that this is a debt buyer. That this is a debt buyer. They have to report that on your credit report. And these are the things that we're missing when we're disputing. And then when we're going after these people, especially these collection accounts. So for me, for an example, LVNV funding. LVN funding is required to report the original creditor name. this violation must be submitted on the ACDV form to the original creditor. Please delete this inaccurate account. LVMV is reporting an incomplete account number. This account number is not complete. No special characters is allowed in this account number. This is a violation, right? And then underneath that, I put K1 original name. Let them know I'm not just making this up. It says K1 say must present each time account is reported by a collection agency, debt buyer, check guarantee companies, student loan guarantee agencies, and the U.S. Department of Education. The purpose of reporting the original creditor name is to help the consumer identify the source of account when they appear on a credit report. Without the original creditor name, the consumer may not know where this account is coming from. So when you look at it, you got to look at it, and you got to pay attention. On the medical side, pay attention to the name. Does the name describe what kind of service you provided? Because if it did, you can use that as, hey, that's a HIPAA. You're providing information that says what type of service I went for. That's too much information. That's not protecting my health information. My public health information. So, not public health information, my health information, my HPI. I think that's what it is, your HPI, health performance. I'll get that back to you, but I know it's health information, and I'm having a brain freeze right now, but I'll get back to you on that one. But you may want to look at that, the name, to see if it's providing more health information that is required under HIPAA. So let's talk a little bit about your credit reports, right? And things you need to really look at. And the reason I like Identity IQ, because it lines it all up and it puts everything in order. I'm always look at the account number. If I have multiple accounts with the same and they both the same, I'm questioning those account numbers. And I'm requesting that these account numbers be updated because it looks like they're duplicate accounts. And please investigate these duplicate accounts. I look at the account type. I look at the account type details. Sometimes they don't even have the account type details. They have to have that section filled. It's incomplete. Then I also looked at the bureau codes. Sometimes you may have a bureau code. One says it's an individual account. The other one says it's a joint account. That's inaccurate. How could they both? That's inaccurate. They can't have one or the other. The other thing you want to look at is the high credit, right? You always want to look at the date and the date it was open, especially for a collection account. The date it was open is the date they received it in their office. I've seen collection accounts where the date open may say January 2021, but the last payment was done in 2020. So how you didn't even get the count to 2020, 21. So how do you have a date of last payment of 2020? You see what I'm saying? So you really need to scrub your report. And when you do that, don't dispute 10 things at one time. And that's where a lot of people make mistakes. To me, it gives the credit bureaus more reasoning to just put whatever they want to put. Find the most grievous offense and dispute that one. If it comes back, dispute the next one, right? But don't try to dispute 5 different things at one time. You want to look at date last active. Make sure there's a date in there. You want to make sure the date of last payment. And another thing that a lot of people really miss is the 2-year payment history. That is very important because that shows your payment history. And if there's incomplete, I have one credit report, the collection account that had October had 120 days late, but in September and November it was okay, right? And then Experian and TransUnion is not reporting anything in there. So you have to look at all the inaccuracies and take your time when you're strolling. That's why you need everything lined up next to each other. So you can look at each one and see how are they reporting. Now, when you send your dispute and you lined all these out, now you can do it a little different when you're going at the original creditor. Send all the different things that you see that are inaccurate. Let them know, hey, I pulled my credit report. There's like 7 things that are inaccurate between the 3 credit bureaus. So you line them all out. TransUnion is saying this, but Experian is saying this. Equifax is saying this. On the same account, TransUnion is saying this. Experian is saying this. Equifax is saying this. Line them all out, right? But you're going to dispute those things. You don't want to dispute all of them. You're going to dispute the most grievous to the credit bureau, but you're going to let the original creditor know all of these things are inaccurate. So please delete this account, right? Please delete this account, right? Because by you sending me verification, then I'm subject to say you're not properly investigating, and if you want to take it further, you could take it further. But the thing about the original creditor, somebody's going to look at that letter. Somebody's going to look at that letter. And what you do is you send a copy of that report. Send it. Don't be scared. Send it. Circle that. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. On this report, that's wrong. This wrong. This wrong. They don't match up. And but say, I have, and then on top, make a note, 9 inaccuracies between the 3 credit bureaus. Right? Powerful. Though that's how you got to dispute. You got to look at everything, right? And then when you do your dispute on those one thing, you're going to say TransUnion is saying this, Equifax is saying this, Experian is saying this, right? There's not a clear investigation being done, and this is proof there's no clear investigation done, because I wouldn't have 3 different sets of information at 3 different credit bureaus. Please investigate this. So that's all about disputing, looking at your credit report. Look at it lined up next to each other. Take a pen, circle the inaccuracies between, because they don't all match up. Send a dispute letter into the credit bureau. Line out, send a certified dispute letter. You can do both. Send a certified dispute letter to the original creditor. Let them know you are required to respond to this letter that I send you, to let me know why I have all these inaccuracies between the 3 credit bureaus. And if you want to look at Innovis, you can pull Innovis up and add Innovis in there. Why I have 4 different things between 4 different credit bureaus reporting, right? Send those letters in and then do your due diligence. The nice thing about Metro 2 is it gives you an understanding on how your credit report is supposed to look. But it doesn't mean you can go sue under Metro 2. You got to send your letters into the credit bureaus. And you have to be specific. I always say that. Be specific. Understand Metro 2. Be specific in what you're reporting. Send it in. Right? That just gives you better grounds. If you want to take action, you can take that action against them. So hopefully I lined out some things. I'm going to get deeper just on one thing. I just wanted to kind of do the dispute process. They all tie in together, right? But we are going to be talking about collection accounts. We are going to be talking about just regular charge-off accounts, just really digging deep into a charge-off account. You know, what strategies that we could do. It's all about what we could do, what kind of strategies. We're going to get into FICOs, right? And I am going to start, like I said, I'm going to start doing some investment videos, because a lot of us need to be investing, man. I'm telling you, that investment, man, I'm big on it. I'm going to have some serious beginner classes about that. But this disputing is so important. And we're going to talk about how to build your credit report, right? So there's a lot of people talking about Metro 2 now. Everybody's trying to get on this Metro 2 thing. I've been talking about Metro 2 for a while. And there's other people that's been talking about it too. But we have to make sure that Don't get so caught up on just disputing with the credit bureau. Sometimes you got to go to the original creditor, data furnisher, and line out all those different errors that are reporting between the 3 or 4 different credit bureaus. So hopefully this lined out a bunch of things for you. If you have any questions, y'all know the deal. Email me and I'll answer any questions that you have. Hopefully this may open up a little bit more about the dispute process and help you put together a better dispute letter. Just put it out. Put out who is, what the account number. If that account number is duplicate, you got 2 or 3 of them from the same, just say that's a duplicate account. I'm not sure why I have special characters in my account. I don't know which account is which, right? Make sure you tell them, submit this on the ACDV form to the original creditor. Put that in your dispute because it needs to be on that form going to the original creditor. Make sure you line out the different dates that are reporting on different ones. Line all that stuff out. Say what's reporting from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. If they all 3 different, put them all 3 in there that they're different reporting. I have nothing accurate that's showing between all this on my credit report. The date of last payment, that date should be the same. It should not be different. They didn't receive that payment on different dates. They received that payment on one date. It should be that date across the board. Look at all that information, dispute that, dispute it directly and indirectly, and keep record of your disputes. Keep records of your disputes. If they're not responding to your disputes, send a non-response, certified non-response. You send it to the original creditor. I disputed this, and that's what I'm talking about, powerful. I sent a dispute to the credit bureaus on this date, and I have not received a response. Right? Send that letter to the original creditor and also send another non-response letter to the credit bureaus. Hey, did y'all not get this dispute? Because I didn't get an investigation. I didn't get results from an investigation. So that's what we have to do. It's all about making sure we send these letters out to everybody. Say, hey, no, I'm on it. I'm on this. I'm on my credit. I'm on you. I'm on the credit bureaus. I'm on all of y'all. And I need some results. Investigate the stuff that I'm disputing, or I'm just going to have an issue. And if I have to take it further, I am. So you don't get a non-response. Again, send a non-response letter to the original creditor. I sent in a dispute on February the 2nd, and 30 days later, I have not received an investigation. Did you not get my dispute that I sent in from the credit bureaus through the ACDV? Put that information out there. That's working it. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, we're gonna dig deeper. We're gonna go into some other areas about credit report. But I want to say thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm about to get up out of this video and be putting out some more videos. I changed the dates. Everybody said I should do Saturday live, so you won't have a live this Wednesday, but next Saturday. I think about 1 p.m. I'm going to start doing the live so you could answer questions and stuff like that. So it'll be every Saturday at 1 p.m. We'll go for about an hour where I'll ask questions, and whatever you have, we'll send it out, get it over to you if you ask a certain thing. And again, I do have this massive dispute. I know I've been talking about getting the book out. I've been kind of lagging on that a few days, but this move and all that, but I'm gonna get back on it. I have to put like the table and contents in order because I was just putting them in there, so I got to go through, put it in order. I got some more notes, I got some more information to put in there, and then I'm gonna be getting that live. I know my website is down. I'm trying to work with somebody to get my website up. Just, man, I'm telling you, moving, man, dollars be flying out everywhere when you move, hanging TVs, getting stuff started. And so my website is down, but be patient with me. I will have it back up. I'm trying to get this book done. So when the website get up, it'll be a digital download. You can just go to it, download it, all of that other stuff. And again, anybody that's already bought the package, you'll be able to get it for free. I will just send it to you directly. But anyway, just Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the thumbs up. I'm going to continue to bring you good and more information. This is Invest and Build Your Credit and Wealth. And I'm out. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much for hanging tight with me.